I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's regularly scheduled meeting of the Castle County Board of Commissioners. I'd like to start off this meeting with a moment of silent prayer. Amen. Move on to the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next up is public hearing on the Community Transportation Program Project Grant.
Good evening, Commissioners. You want me to go over this first, or do you want to enter to the public hearing before and then me read over this, or read this first, then go to the public hearing?
Read over first.
Okay. Castle County Area Transportation System is required to complete the Community Transportation Grant application at the capital call for project grant application for fiscal year 2024-25 by October the 6th, 2023. We are required to hold a public hearing on the proposed projects to allow members of the community the opportunity to comment on the transportation needs and grant applications. The public hearing will be held at the Commissioners' meeting tonight, and we are requesting 2 replacement buses in the FY 2025 capital grant application. We are requesting administrative funding in 5311 CTP application. The capital 5310 purchase of services objective is to provide transportation services that meet the special needs of elderly persons and persons with disabilities to whom mass transportation services are unavailable, insufficient, or inappropriate. We need to have a motion made by the board and seconded by another board member for the adoption of the Section 311 CTP application and capital call for project program resolution, and put to a vote to duly adopt the resolution. Our grant, once again, is due on October the 6th, and please note that if the standard language included in the resolution by PTD is altered or changed in any way, we will not be required to submit a new resolution. The requirement to submit a new resolution may result in a delay in approval of our CTP grant application funds availability. All local funding funds require our transportation dollars. No ad valorem tax dollars are required for the operation of CATS. CATS is operating as a standalone enterprise fund. We are requesting an administrative $138,869. We are asking in capital $261,200, and in the 5310 capital purchase of service, we're requesting $20,000. The total project is $420,069 that we are requesting in these 3 particular grants that we apply for every year to this day. Our local share is $48,950, and for the members that are new on the board, our local match, it always comes from our enterprise funds, from our revenue surplus, and from the sale of our vehicles. We do not use any ad valorem tax dollars or anything like that to help, make up this match that we're required to meet. And the state pays 90% of the capital, 85% of the administrative, and the 5310 grant, they will pay 90% of it.
Questions about that before? We got it. There's no question. questions. Let me open up a public hearing on the Community Transportation Program Project Grant. Is anyone here that would like to speak on this issue? We have a motion and a second to approve the project grant. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Next up, public comments. Janet Graves and spouse. Yes, sir. Can you come up to the podium, state your name?
Can you pull that microphone a little closer to you?
Yeah. Yes, ma'am, sure will.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Janet Gray, and what I want to complain about is the dead trees and stuff along 62, which is Badger Sisters Parkway. And they all over the road, and every time it rains or wind blows, we got a tree laying there. We got 3 or 4 school buses coming through there. And then another thing is the sign that you have at the end of the road. I don't know if y'all familiar with the area, but the end of Boy Scout Road, going towards 158. They used to have a sign up there. I've been gone for about 40-some years, but they used to have a sign there saying Reedville and Yams. You go down there, ain't nothing there, and none of the end of the road. Like you get to the end of the Marshall Grade Road, you said Burlington or Reedville, nothing there. And I just wonder what happened to the sign, or do they cut the trees down, or you got to go cut them yourself? That's my complaint. And the trash and the grass cut, but I know they come through every 3 or 4 months and cut the grass. And the trash is terrible, because us in the neighborhood, we pick up grass, pick up paper and trash from down the Boy Street, from the bridge up to the stop sign, which is Marshall Grade Road. Sometimes we go down to the bridge, down to the other bridge on Badger Sisters Parkway. So most of what I'm complaining about is the trees, because they really got trees, leaning against trees, could fall on the road any day. And the trees, you got 3 or 4 school buses coming through there, and I got my family coming through there. So I don't want to see no one hurt, but they really need someone to take a look at those trees, really do. And the sign to the end of the road, I've been going with my 40-some years, and my wife, she's not from around here. You get to the end of the road, she don't know where to go. You get the GPS system, but half time GPS system might put you on the back road somewhere, But that's all I got to complain about. If they have any help with the trees, I can go on the trees. But the signs at the end of the road really need those, the people couldn't come in and don't know where they are. Yeah, so that's all I got to complain about.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
So do we have the Department of Transportation take a look at that? Okay. Thank you, sir. We'll move on to recognition. Anybody on the board have anyone they'd like to recognize?
Excuse me. I got here a little late, but can I say a couple of words?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Normally we ask folks to sign in, but go right ahead.
I was a library. Good evening to the board. My name is Gwendolyn Lunsford. I'm not here with a complaint. I came to the last meeting and I was really impressed. I am almost a new resident here in Caswell County. I've been here since last year, and it is my duty, I feel it's my duty to be an advocate in the community. I live here and I want where I live to be safe for everybody. So that means I need to contribute. What can I do to contribute? So I signed up for the Adult Advisory Board. Why? I've been in the health field since 1995. I work with the elderly population as well as the younger population and the mental health population. I am a COO at Across the Lifespan, where we help with all populations. And I just want to let you know who I am, so when y'all look and my name come across, y'all will know what my credentials are before y'all vote. Thank you.
What was your name again?
Gwendolyn Lunsford. I'm not sure, if somebody else signed up, but before y'all make a decision, I just want to let y'all know what I could bring, my expertise that I can bring to the table, instead of just voting somebody in, not knowing what they can do.
Which committee did you sign up for?
The, Adult Advisory Committee Board.
That's 6 vacancies. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move on to recognition by the board. Anyone have anybody that wants to recognize? Being none, we'll move on to approval of the agenda.
Will be approved.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of the consent agenda.
So moved, Joe. Second.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. On to discussion items. National Guard Cyber Assessment Review. Jason Benson.
Good evening. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Commissioners. I'm Jason Benson, IT Director for Caswell County. Back in April, the National Guard of North Carolina conducted a cybersecurity and vulnerability assessment at no cost to the county. They spent a week on site with the IT department, performing scans and reviewing our security posture. Toward the end of August, I received the results of the assessment, and it is an extremely in-depth and comprehensive document. The next suggested step is to attend a WebEx with the National Guard to highlight some of the critical findings and answer any questions that we may have. We are encouraged to have county commissioners participate. The WebEx is scheduled for Wednesday, October 18th at 3 p.m. I invite all of you to participate in this review, if at all possible. The next suggested step, one of the recommendations from the National Guard is for the IT department to conduct regular meetings with the county commissioners and senior leadership to stay informed on the cybersecurity posture of the county. I am more than happy to meet with the board at whatever frequency you feel is necessary to engage in further discussions about cybersecurity in Caswell County and any other responsibilities of the Information Technology Department.
Question.
That meeting you said was scheduled on the 18th,
October 18th, Wednesday, 3 p.m.
3 p.m. Will you send that can you send that email out with the link to web in on?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next up is the Financial Advisory Committee, Tony Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would like to request that the Board of Commissioners allow the county manager to form a financial review committee consisting of county manager, possibly the deputy county manager, one or two members of the board to set deadlines and guidelines and follow the progress we're making.
We can't hear you, I'm sorry.
To provide progress on our financial updates and make sure we get deadlines and provide reporting on a timely basis to the board.
Are there any volunteers from the board for the committee? Or discussion on this? Do you want to form this, or what are the thoughts of the board?
How many members did you say, Mr. Smith?
I would say 5 to 7. I mean, I would think 5 would be enough.
You and Madam.
I would like to be on
Deputy manager would be 2, and then how many commissioners are asking? You think should be on?
I talked to the NCACC, she suggested maybe 2, if we could get 2 commissioners to be on the board.
And how often are you talking about meeting?
I would say initially monthly, then we can move it to quarterly, if need be. Initially, to watch our progress, I think it needs to be monthly.
volunteer. Do you have any other volunteers? Is it it's a pleasure of the board to appoint Ms. Quinn and Mr. Holt to the board?
Make a motion to appoint Ms. Gwynn and Mr. Holt to the,
I'll second that motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Now, all your other members be just community members at large?
But it needs to be internally, within the county. We thought about maybe going to CPAs, bankers and so forth, but we were advised to keep it internal. Someone that knows something about the financial end and knows the balance sheet or income statement. And once I'm replaced, I would like to volunteer for that board as well.
Do we need a motion, Mr. Chairman, to even form this committee to start with?
I don't think so. This is just a committee. It's not a board, just a committee.
All right.
I can take care of that.
Thoughts on any of the folks? You know, we need to advertise it.
that's going to be my question. We going to advertise these positions for this committee like we do everything else?
No, sir, I think that would be a board. I think this would be an internal committee. County employees sit down with the financial director once a month initially to review the financial status.
Do you have any recommendations?
As far as personnel? Yes. I'd say with a couple of commissioners, a new county manager, myself, the deputy county manager, would possibly one more.
So what else do you need out of us?
I don't think just, I'd have need volunteers.
What about the finance director?
The finance director does not need to be on that board. She will be answering to within the committee, she'll be answering to the committee.
Okay.
Next up, item number 10, gun premises policy. Russell Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, if you recall at our last meeting, we discussed the Capital County Safety Manual. And in that manual is the workplace violence prevention policy. And we propose to add language into that policy to address the gun premises on county properties. So in your packet, you'll see a proposal based upon the input from the board at the last meeting, along with the county manager. And the proposed language would read as follows: whenever a gun is discovered or presented on county government property, then the county employee or county department head shall call the Castle County Sheriff's Department immediately. The county employee or department head shall then immediately notify the county manager, and the county manager shall work in conjunction with the sheriff's department to determine if the county property shall be shut down and evacuated. County employees and the general public shall not be allowed back on the county premises until given authority by the Castle County Sheriff's Department. Of course, I discussed the exceptions briefly at the last meeting, but there are 13 exceptions that fall under this policy, and they're the same exceptions as listed in the general statutes and in our own county code of ordinances. So this is a working draft, so feel free to give input. I think it's important that we err on the side of caution, and as mentioned in the last meeting, let the Sheriff's Department handle any potential threat of violence if possible.
I personally agree. I think that's well said. Comments from the board? Questions? Is that policy ready to be voted on tonight for approval?
That was a rough draft.
Well, it is the drafted resolution. It can be voted on tonight, and it's my recommendation that we implement it into the Castle County Safety Manual. Now, Mr. Smith may have some input because the safety manual does need to be updated. think you may address those during this update.
I will.
So does that need to be done before we vote on it? Are we ready to go?
It's at the pleasure of the board. This proposed language could be voted on tonight and implemented into the safety manual, because the safety manual is an active county document and policy. So it's really at the pleasure of the board. You could do it tonight, or we could wait and update the manual all at one time.
My question is the policy you have just drafted here contradict the safety plan policy? Is there parts of that plan that will not coincide?
Well, that's a good question, Commissioner Rose, and is that specifically related to guns found on county property? So in the workplace violence prevention policy, it refers to external threats of violence, but it doesn't specifically relate to guns. In the safety manual, it does mention at the beginning, and bear in mind, this is about 112 pages. But at the beginning, it does mention the brandishing of weapons, but in the document, I didn't specifically see anything related to gun on premises policy. But you know, I'll be glad to do further research in that manual and in other documents.
With that being said, would you like for us to wait until you look at that?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Then as an action item next time?
Sure.
Budget amendments, Jennifer Hammond.
Good evening, Commissioners. Before you, you have two budget amendments. The first one, budget amendment number 4. Justification for this is the board voted to terminate the county manager's contract. The county manager's contract provided for payout of leave balances and 6 months' salary and benefits. As the economic development director is serving as the interim county manager, savings in the Economic Development Department are available to offset a portion of the costs. The remainder will be covered by an appropriation of health. I'll entertain any questions you may have.
One, or maybe two questions.
Okay.
The $82,000 that is being proposed to shift from the economic developer's salary, I guess, for sake of, I don't have the other expenses or not, into this budget item. Okay? Unless, for the sake of conversation, during this budget year, we hire a new county manager. The current interim manager goes back and resumes his position as economic developer. We'll have to come back and do another budget amendment, shifting funds again.
That is
fund items.
That's possible, yes.
Okay.
What is the balance in that fund?
In the,
Economic Development Fund?
the original budgeted amount was $287,473 for salary and benefits.
So that would be what's still in there?
Once we move out the $82,000 to cover a portion of the payout, the remaining balance would be roughly $205,473. So we probably won't have to do another budget amendment, but there's a possibility.
Yeah. 61,000 is coming out of fund balance.
Yes, sir. Mhm.
Any other questions from the board? What is the pleasure of the board?
be approved.
Got a motion? We have a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve contract payout. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Fiscal year 2024 budget amendment number 5, family service.
Yes, sir. You'll see in front of you, budget amendment number 5, justification. This is to create a new multi-year fund and budget revenues and expenditures for the domestic violence grant. Just to give you a little information, Family Services receives grants that operate for multiple fiscal years periodically. Many of these grants operate on a fiscal year from September to October instead of July to June. The objective here is to create this new fund specifically for the multi-year grants, to separate them from the single-year grants for a more streamlined, easier, and accurate reporting. Any questions?
This is, Mr. Chairman, this is state grant money. This is not county tax revenue.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Any other questions? Make a motion to approve the amendment. Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Commissioner of boards and committees, Tony Smith.
Currently, we have 2 boards that do not have representatives of the county commissioners on the board, and both requested that we ask the commissioners to decide who can represent them. One being the Board of Health, the other being the Economic Development Commission.
When do these committees meet? Sorry, when do they meet?
The Economic Development meets the second Monday of each month, and I'm not positive on the Board of Health.
Second Monday of each month, with time for day, night, or
1 o'clock. I think currently Commissioner McVeigh is signed that board. Understand he's not, they can't do more meetings.
Which board was that?
Economic Development Commission.
I would love to serve on that board, but I just can't make it in the middle of the day like that. It conflicts with my job.
Who all sits on this economic development board?
So, the mayor, the deputy county manager, economic developer, you got Cardo.
My question is this, if it was Thursday or Friday, anytime Thursday or Friday, I have no problem sitting on it. There's a way that the meeting could get moved to Thursday at 1 o'clock versus Monday. That's, I can do, I mean, I'll be more glad to serve on it. I gotta get it to where I can serve. I didn't know if the Mondays were set in stone.
Mondays have been set in stone for many years. I think the charge of my policy sets that 5 minutes. And it gives some time.
Don't think we have any takers.
No. Okay. And the second is the Board of Health. And currently, Mr. Williams on that board, there was a conflict of understanding where she could.
Board of Health.
When do they meet? Tuesday?
We switched off.
Tuesday. They meet Tuesday.
Yes, 6:30.
I think it's Tuesdays at 6:30.
What time?
6:30.
6:30 in the evening?
Yeah,
I can do that one.
but you can go.
Well, that's the problem.
Yeah, it's a conflict of interest.
My daughter works for the health department. I have no problem serving.
Could he not recuse?
That would be, I guess that would be,
Could he not recuse himself if his daughter was involved?
I guess that would be a question for our county attorney.
Mr. Johnson. I think Ms. Wynn had a question.
Yes, sir. I was listening to Carla. On the face of it, in my opinion, it is a conflict of interest. But I'll be glad to do a little more research and give you guys a specific answer. On my legal opinion now, on the face of it, that does appear to be a conflict.
I don't want anybody to say that I'm trying to get on board. I'm trying to help this board out by filling a vacancy, but I don't want to have a conflict.
Sir.
Thanks for the conflict of interest, but he's going to check. With that being said, we'll wait here, because I don't think we have any other takers.
Okay, we'll see if we can find a loophole.
Thank you.
Next up is board and committee appointments. Tony Smith.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman, currently we have vacancy on some of the boards, one being agency board, and one vacancy, we have an application from Tony Minton.
Move to be appointed. Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
Secondly, we have 9 vacancies currently for agricultural advisory committee, and we've got 6 applications tonight. Lucas Bernard, Emily Buchanan, Brian Singleton, B. Allen Smith, Matthew Sullivan, John Ken Watkins. Currently, those boards cannot meet because they do not have representation.
What is the pleasure of the board?
Mr. Chairman, if I could just interject, if we could just have a motion to open the floor for nominations at the appropriate time you read.
Okay. Can I get a motion to open the floor for nominations?
Make a motion.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries.
I'd like to nominate Matthew Solomon.
Mr. Chairman, how many can we nominate at one time?
Be a good question for the attorney.
Well, there's 9 openings. Is that correct, Mr. Smith?
That's correct. 6 applications.
6 applications. So I would say two nominations per commissioner, and then each applicant will need a majority vote to get on the board. We need to, once all the nominations are made, close the floor for nominations, then a vote will be taken on all the nominees.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to nominate, Lucas Bernard and Brian Singleton.
I'd also like to nominate Ken Wallington. Second.
A second.
Al Smith and Matthew Solomon.
Already did me.
So the only one that has not been nominated is Emily Buchanan. There are no more nominations. We'll
Move nomination to be closed.
have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion carries. First up is Lucas Bernard. We'll Do roll, y'all want to roll call consensus. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Next up is Brian Singleton. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Next up is Ken Watlington. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Next up is Al Smith. P. Allen Smith. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, on the board. Next up is Matthew Solomon. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed. And Ms. Solomon is on the board.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Go right ahead.
And I hadn't noticed this before when I was looking over these applications. If you see right there at the top, so if you work or live in Castle County, and so on and so forth, my line of thinking is that if you're going to serve on the Castle County committee, you need to be a Castle County resident. I think why the board feels, but that's the way I feel.
Myself, I'd be inclined to agree with you.
Would that be? Proper, Mr. Attorney?
That would be within the pleasure of the board. It's my understanding, it was always a county policy that you did have to be a resident to serve on the county boards. I'm not sure that changed.
And that's what I had thought until I just happened to read that at the top of the application.
That would be within the discretion of the board, but I guess it would behoove us to review the county personnel policy, to see the exact language it is, and maybe make an amendment to it. That's within the pleasure of the board.
I would like for you to look at that if you could.
Yes, sir.
Following boards will be re-advertised, presented at the next meeting. Board of Adjustments, 5 alternates needed. Castle County Adult Advisory Council, 6 vacancies. Hunting and Wildlife Advisory Committee, 1 vacancy. That concludes item number 13. On to the county manager updates. Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We got a a safety manual, that's, needs revision. It's got a number of sections that need to be added to, some sections that need to be deleted. I think it maybe it was written in the 1990s. So we hope to go through with the current safety committee, evaluate each section, make decisions, what needs to be updated, revised, what deleted. It will include the new gun purchase policy that we part of it. And once we go through the current safety manual, we'd like to present it back to the board.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Next item is, I want to give you an EEOP update. I'm going to ask Ashley Powell to talk a little bit about the demonstration we had this week.
So this, Mr. Smith had brought back to the board for as a EEOP that we were going to bring back a cost for the data that we needed to meet the requirements for the grant that the sheriff department had received. And we have got those quotes back, and Mr. Smith will give that to you. But the software that we looked at is actually utilizing the software that we already had in Munis. This would be an application that was within Munis, and this will streamline the hiring and recruitment process. So applicants will be able to apply online, use the software we already have. We can post jobs on there through Indeed, Monstrous, great resources there. And you know, our staff is already familiar with the software we already have, so I think it'll be a great thing once we get this in place.
Okay, I can provide you with a financial update on the cost. There's a recurring annual expense of $1,376. That's the new system. And there's a one-time upfront charge of $2,800 a year. But we can go forward year one home for $1,376. And we can be able to receive hundreds of thousands of dollars of grants. And we'll update our computer systems as far as HR call. Have people apply on land, provide, process.
So it's $1,376 annual cost and a $2,800 one-time. But this is software that we already have in place.
So you're using our current financial and HR software.
So that being the case, we will make that an action item next time, because we ask for approval now to go ahead and purchase the software and get the process started.
Pleasure of the board.
How time sensitive is getting this policy up and going?
We're receiving a grant, now I think we had 120 days starting yesterday to have this program implemented. So that's our time.
And there's a 45-day turnaround for the software, getting the training and everything in place. But the policy, me and the NCACC is currently working on getting the policy in place. So I don't think that'll be the hold off. We'll bring that back to the board at a later date. But getting this software in place was, we really need to move on that course to meet that guideline.
Where are we gonna take these funds from? Where were these funds gonna come? Where were these funds gonna come from? As far as line item, where's this $2,800 and $1,376 gonna come from?
That's the annual cost of $1,376. The only other cost we have is actually master's time. She goes to that, but we think eventually will be a time saving tool. Additionally, the NCACC will provide personnel to help her implement that cost.
I understand that, I'm just asking, where's the money going to come from?
Think about that, we have about money in the budget.
1 second, let's, where? What line item budget, what line item in the budget is it coming out of?
I think we have contractual service administration.
How much do we have in there?
I'm not 100% sure, but we do have enough to cover this
Yes, sir.
as an ongoing.
Okay, thank you.
Gentlemen, what do y'all want to do?
Sorry, one last question. How much is this grant?
The grant, the church proposal gets $106,000.
197.
So if we don't act on this $1,376, it's $2,800, 1,000.
We're subject to lose that grant.
I'll make a motion that we pass that.
Which one? I couldn't hear this.
I'm in.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries.
And finally, I'm pleased to say we received last week the final draft for the 2021 balance sheet. And pleased to say that actually the county is stronger in 2021 than it was in 2020. The fund balance increased $309,000. And it's increased to 15.2% from 14.8%. The revenues will increased just under $2 million per year. The expenses will decrease just over $2 million. So initial reports are good for 2021. Finally, one other thing, I met late last week with Dominion Energy. They're going to install a pipeline across Calhoun County from Buckingham County to Percy County, going to the Hyco power plant. Going from 18-inch line to 36-inch line. And that will take place in the year 2026.
That line gonna run along the existing?
It's going to run along the existing line. It's just that the capacity is not enough there to service the Hyco plant. I took the opportunity to talk to the committee people about running the gas line to the Powell Industrial Park, so we'll see where that goes. That's all.
Next up, commissioner comments. Commissioner comments from the board.
Well, I got no whole lot of comments, but I got a question I want to ask you. I saw where you signed this. This was where it was check paid out. I just kind of managed to explain it. $120,000 paid out in June 16th. And I saw where you signed it, but I didn't understand. Somebody in the street told me about this. And I asked the county manager to look into it. Here it is, in case you didn't know.
Yes,
Like that, maybe the county manager might can explain a little on this, because 16th, we should have known something, 16th of June. Now come up with just one about that.
all right, we'll get the county manager to explain it as a grant refund.
The money was forwarded to the county back for the Measure O project with hopes that they could add enough employees to justify going in business here in the county. As it turns out, they never got to that point. The money was deposited into our account, sat there for some time, and returned in June of this year. So it did not cost the county any tax dollars.
Did you hear what he said, Mr. Jeffrey?
And I think there's something else we need to do to speak. It's in the lid open.
Yeah. Mr. Carey, Mr. Jeffries could not understand what you said.
Yes, sir. The money was forwarded to Calhoun County for incentive for the IO project, where they would hire so many people and receive so many funds. That amount was $120,000. So the money came into Calhoun County, and it said in our fund, but it never was dispersed to the company because they didn't earn that money. They could not hire those jobs that they had promised. So as a result, the money had to be returned. It was done so in June of this year. So it did not cost the taxpayers any money.
Well, I think we're doing it, but I think, $120,000. Still high, I think it's bold. I don't know how many other guys know it. I didn't know why somebody told me this. And I had to check. I don't think I said that. I mean, we had to pay it, but I think it's bold to know it for the
It was refunded, but it was money that was put into the county.
Still was kept, still should have known. Didn't listen to it, I just speak.
Was this state money put here for create so many jobs to get this?
It was. They came in a big plan, and want to hire so many people, and they qualified for $120,000 incentive money from the state. The money came in, but they didn't create the jobs. So it set in our account for a period of time, and then was returned.
The state got back in other words, because the jobs were created.
That's correct.
Any other comments, commissioners?
Do we have a clue as to why a job wasn't created?
That was before my time. I can't explain why they were not created.
Because I think, we know that we're a poor county. Anytime that kind of money comes into us, and then we get it back, that's not good management. I That was poor management.
You know the date on the grant when it came in? You know when it originally came in?
We can report next 2 weeks to the board. We can. I suspect it's like 3 years ago.
3 or 4 years ago. Well, I remember a discussion of that. There are no other comments. We'll move on to announcements and upcoming events. October 16th, 2023, Commissioners meeting at 6:30 at the Historic Courthouse. October 30th, 2023, Castle Candy Trail for Halloween from 2 to 5 p.m. in Yesville, North Carolina. With that, folks, that is the end of our announcements. I have so moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, we're adjourned.